Greetings, this is Tarot Illumination. It is Friday, 13th of October, 2023. We're making a series, like a little playlist, regarding the Libra new moon eclipse for everybody. You know, pick a sign. A lot of people just go for sun, moon, and rising, and I put that on the horizon for the first house. Okay, and we go from there. And your sun could be any of the degrees, but let's just say it's in the first house, okay? So the idea is the solar eclipse, when I look at them, it's, any eclipse, but solar eclipse, it's new starts and new beginnings for wherever part of life in your world, in your chart, that the eclipse occurs. And for Geminis, this one's about Gemini, that will be happening in your fifth house. So we'll go to that in just a second. But the theme with eclipses is that you might notice that coming up to it and happening and just coming out of it, you might feel that something profound is shifting and changing in your life, in your world. For the Geminis, that would be in the fifth house, so we'll come to that in a second. But with an eclipse is like when something is eclipsed, like here's this thing, okay? Oh, so I'm not doing it very well. Let me try and do it again here. And then, sorry, I did it wrong. Something just kind of disappeared. It was eclipsed out of your life. Now with Libra, it might be a relationship. Some kind of relationship between yourself, Gemini, and someone or something else, like a belief system, your relationship with friends, families, a spouse, partner, a lover, or whatever it might be, in the context of the fifth house. So let's go over here, dive a little into the astrology itself. Here's my little mini astrodoodle for Geminis regarding the Libra new moon eclipse. It's happening in your fifth house, new starts and new beginnings there, but it also includes the eclipsing, well, if that's a word, of things that are basically no longer relevant for your evolutionary journey. I always consider eclipses as evolutionary gateways, where you enter here, you're effectively forced up a two-sided elevator, and then you're popped out here the other side, and you can't go back. And sometimes it's very uncomfortable. That's why a lot of people find eclipses kind of scary, especially in old mythology, because it's like certain events and things seem to happen that are above and beyond the control of our will. So that's a little bit tricky, because people like to feel like they are the boss in charge of their lives, instead of being, let's say, a victim or externally influenced by perhaps the energy of the planets in the solar system. Anyway, so the eclipse also coincides roughly with the nodal axis, Libra south node, Aries north node. So again, we're talking about the Libra energy of the default settings. If you have a lot of default settings and attitudes and behaviors regarding relationships in the fifth house domain, then the idea is that it needs to be outgrown, and we need to focus on the journey forward, which for you, Geminis, would be the Aries North Node eclipse energy as represented in the 11th house. That's a kind of another video, but we're talking about the eclipses right now. So what is being eclipsed out of your life, out of your world, that might not be happening according to your will, but please understand that it's ultimately for your benefit in terms of your personal evolution. It's very uncomfortable. Humans are very, very social. Geminis are very, very social. Gemini and Libra happens to be a very harmonious combination, so it might not feel too stressful to you. But either way, you might find that there are some types of relationship, maybe a spouse, maybe a child, a parent, a sibling, a friend. It might be a sweetheart, it might be a pet, it might be a business relationship, something that would be described as a relationship is being basically eclipsed. As the sun and the moon do their thing, and then there's you being you, and then suddenly, what was that? Whoa, something's eclipsed. Maybe a new relationship dynamic starts to blossom, and that eclipses the old relationship dynamics, where the old relationships are redundant. Sometimes very uncomfortable. So let's look at the fifth house itself. It's typically, like in our astrology, it's ruled by the sun, sign of Leo, but don't have to think about that. Just think about the keywords for the fifth house. So what do we think of commonly? These are common, popular ones. Creative self-expression of all kinds. Think about that. Risk-taking of all kinds. Having fun, being happy, fun and happiness of all kinds. Romance. The fun of romance. Leading by example. The fun of being in a leadership position and leading by example and being appreciated accordingly. Also, the fun of inspiring others by leading by example. It's great to be appreciated and seen as a star. Also, being very courageous, again, leading by example, showing others the way by being an example of courage and light and bold risk-taking. Also, the fun of making babies, boyfriends, girlfriends, dating, serious dating that goes on here to the point where they might think, this is going so well, we like each other so much, why don't we go to the seventh house and talk about marriage? But that's another thing. But it's also kind of ruled by Libra, so it's, we have to mention it. But anyway, just looking at these keywords, are there any keywords here that you feel are being eclipsed? Are you feel that you're losing something, or something being removed or eclipsed in the world of your creative self-expression? Are you an artist, a writer, a musician, a business person where you have constant self-expression, and something profound is going and it's being replaced? Are you used to taking risks and discovering that, oh my God, I might have overdone it? Are you all used to having a certain form of fun and happiness, only to discover that it's redundant and there are better ways to have fun and be happy? And all of this would be happening in the context of love, romance, and relationships, risk-taking, private enterprise, business, creative self-expression. What about leading by example? Have you been conducting your life in a way that you would be proud of yourself, and discovering that there's something a little bit inappropriate or below you, and now you're going to have to upgrade whether you like it or know it or not? Have you ever considered that you might be an inspiration to others, or are you just taking your wonderful, glorious, egoic energy for granted and sucking that energy out of other people? That doesn't work for other people. Are you being courageous? Have you ever thought of being courageous? Have you been cowering in cowardly ways rather than being courageous? Are the situations occurring in such a way where, because of the shifts and changes of the eclipse, where something's being ripped out from you, like you might call it a rug pull? It's being pulled out and away from you, where you're having to reintegrate yourself, evolve and grow, so that you can have the best possible expression of yourself in this area of your life with these particular keywords. Also regarding making babies, it's just another thing. Is that an option right now if you're in that demographic? Something to think about. Has that option been removed? Something to think about. Is there a breakup in a romance? Is there a failure, a loss? Is there something, has someone else intervened and taken your sweetheart? Has someone else taken over your business? Have you had to swallow your pride because of default relationships that are no longer working? Anything that's not working and you might feel as pain and failure and losses is actually an impetus for you to move towards the Aries North Node dynamic in your 11th house, where it's time to consider the bigger picture about, rather than it's all about me, the spotlight's glory for me in my 5th house having so much fun, but there's a higher level of expression where you might be evolving in such a way that you have to become more of a shining light and a leader in the community. Not that you have to become a dictator or a despot, but where you become an inspiration to others, leading by example in a community that's outside and above what you're used to. Anyway, these are just examples. So I hope this helps you, Geminis. If you want to get into it really like heavy duty, you're very welcome. You can come over here to terraillumination.com. You can make a donation, very, very much appreciated. And then you can also connect with me. You can book private readings and all that. You can pay for them here and everything like that, okay? So I wish you the best. The eclipse is happening very, very soon. I'm hoping to get this playlist out done by very, very late tonight, okay? And then allow for these dynamics to play out over the months ahead, okay? Because the eclipses tend to have quite a lag time. All right, thank you very much. Take care.